guys, so I definitely did not have it on my bingo card in 2026. We would still be talking about freaking Doki Doki Literature Club, but here we are. So, for those of you who don't remember the collective trauma that we all had that all blindly played that game, it was that Japanese looking dating sim that seemed cutesy on the surface even though it was listed under psychological horror. And for like the first hour or so of the game, it makes no sense why they would say that until shit goes down. That game. So, it's back in the news again. This is from Kotaku, but a lot of different places are all reporting on this. Cult hit Doki Doki Literature Club fights removal from Google Play Store over depiction of sensitive themes. First off, time out. I did not know we had this game ported for freaking mobile now. I knew about it on PC, that's where it started out. I knew it got ported to like Switch and PlayStation and probably Xbox. I did not know it made it to mobile. Apparently that was relatively recently. That was only in December of last year, it turns out, because I looked into this. And I'm still like, I feel like you would lose something playing it as a mobile app, just throwing it out there, because half of what makes it so creepy, at least in the PC version, is being able to like poke through the game files and see all the creepy shit that pops up throughout it. You can't really do that when it's mobile, so it probably would lose at least some of the effect, but let's continue. The acclaimed visual novel had amassed thousands of positive user reviews. Doki Doki Literature Club is no longer available to play on Android devices. The hit 2017 visual novel was okay. Sorry about that. So the hit 2017 visual novel was removed on April 18th over an alleged violation of the Google Play Store's terms of service. Publisher Serenity Forge said it's fighting to get the game restored to the mobile storefront and defended the visual novel's handling of mental health issues. So, for those who somehow have lived under a rock all of this time and don't know what this game is still, there's a couple of self-unalivings in the story. So, just, sorry, spoilered it for you, but it's been out since 2017. You've had time. Anyway, so, continuing on. Whoop, did not mean to zoom this. I'm still trying to maneuver my new tech. Hold on. Okay. So, their explanation is that the game's content violates their terms of service in its depiction of sensitive themes, the company wrote in a statement on April 9th. DDLC is widely celebrated for portraying mental health in a way that meaningfully connects deeply with players around the world, helping them feel heard, understood, and less alone on their journey. It continued, managing to achieve that, making a truly meaningful difference by using the power of fiction to connect to others, is what I'm most grateful for. It inspires me every day to keep making cool new things that can really reach others, especially those in need of connection. While Doki Doki Literature Club appears on the surface to be a standard anime-style school romance visual novel to begin with, its story and themes quickly veer off into much darker subjects, including a meta-narrative layer that transforms the way the game is understood. This is truly a special game, read former Kotaku writer Gita Jackson's initial impressions back in 2017. If you like horror games, especially ones that really get under your skin, please check out Doki Doki Literature Club. The fact that so many of us stayed triggered by that game for years after the fact should tell you they did something right in the way they did this. But anyway, it continues. Doki Doki Literature Club came to the Google Play Store last December without issue and remains available on the Switch eShop, the PlayStation Store, Xbox, and Steam. I also Googled it, and it is on the Apple Store, which I find interesting that it's not controversial to them, and usually Apple is way stricter, but it's not allowed on the Play Store. That's really strange to me. Anyways. The Android version had a near-perfect user rating with over 20,000 reviews. The sudden removal has been interpreted by some fans as part of an ongoing crackdown from banks and payment processors on platforms that host content that host content some censorship groups find objectionable. Last summer, a number of games were banned from Steam and other storefronts for including NSFW content or even just depictions of adult sexual themes. But since Doki Doki Literature Club remains available on iOS, it's just as possible that Google simply messed up. You think? You think? It's one of those games, though, where, I mean, you can't pearl clutch and go, what about the children one? It was always listed for like 17 plus. So that's not a fair argument. For the depiction of mental health things, I mean, there is warnings all over this game and throughout it. You kind of know going in what you're in for to some degree just from those warnings. So I don't think that's really accurate either. Especially since if you know going in what's going to be in it and you play it anyway, odds are you're fine. You're fine. I mean, sometimes it's like in a shocking fashion where you may not agree with the way they go about portraying it, but I mean, it is one of those things that starts a lot of conversations and starts people researching certain topics they might not otherwise have gone down the rabbit holes of, or knowing like the warning signs to be looking out for in friends and loved ones with regards to things like this. It actually started a lot of really important conversations that came around that time. And it also seemed to like shift the way certain visual novels are constructed, because as of the time that game came out, I noticed that seemed to be the shift with a lot of the really meta sort of interactive ones. They started getting front and center after that. So it did start a whole trend that I don't know that it knew going in it was gonna do. But it really is a special game, even as fucked up as it is. Anyway, when even Apple and Nintendo are both cool with this being on there, why is Google suddenly puritanical on this? This is where it's a slippery slope when it comes to censorship, because they always start with porn, because that's the easy one to point to, go pearl clutchy and objectable and everything. But as soon as you start that, and then exceptions for other things that they don't like, that they can make an argument for, it very quickly turns into a slippery slope of just finding anything they find objectionable, finding some excuse to point to, and having a reason to ban it. How far do you want to take it before you push back against that? So, I mean, for things like this, it would be really smart if they would actually, dial it back a little before it gets that far. But who knows? Who knows? It's early days still with this stuff, where they could still course correct at this point, but I mean, if it goes too far, it gets real weird. But I mean, it's not like, even if they take this off of there, it has already existed. People can still sideload that content, so it's not like it's going to be lost media or anything. I'm positive of that. I mean, plus, it's ported to like everything else too, so I mean, not too worried about that. But it's indicative to me of just a bigger issue when it comes to censorship, in that I think it's very important to have alternate routes of sharing such things in case they get censored off of the traditional platforms. Have alternate platforms set up, ready to go in the event of those. I think we need to have a larger, more broad conversation about that being a thing. Obviously, this is not a single-person kind of deal to set something like that up, but I mean, you throw it out there to the universe, sometimes it falls upon the correct ears, and things happen. You never know, so I don't know. In my getting all derailed in the middle of that diatribe, and realizing it didn't really lead anywhere, I remember what else I was going to say about that topic. So, I think it's really dumb to try to censor things like that you don't like it, therefore you think it should be banned, and will find some dumb excuse to point to for why you personally object to it. But in a lot of cases, things like this where, sure, it's kind of messed up objectionable content, it's in a way where you can tell it comes from a place of somebody who knows what it is that they're talking about. And I think a lot of people channel trauma into art, and then that resonates with people. So, I mean, I get why this project existed to begin with. Like, to me, it makes perfect sense, and actually, it's part of why I've revisited it as many times as I have. Because I find it a very powerful game, the way that it was written and the way it was designed. But it's one of those things where not everybody is ready to have that type of interaction with that type of multimedia, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it shouldn't be banned across the board from everybody. Like, maybe if there were additional categorizations like the NC-17 things, like, you know, the different levels of that, maybe if there were one that you could opt in or out of for things pertaining to specific triggers like mental health, things like that. Like, I don't know if that would help or make it worse. I don't know, but it seems like there's gotta be a better system than just trying to blanket ban things across the board just because you personally find them icky.